Now, we've long known that Canberra is a creative city, with many successful musicians, artists and writers. Some have had to wait years for their careers to take off, and others are racing ahead, even though just off their P-plates. Katie Taylor is 23 and already making an international name with her fantasy fiction.
So I never wanted to be a writer, I just always sort of was. I was always a storyteller, and then I started writing it down, but I started wanting to become published when I was in high school. The ground below was dark. It looked like a huge black sea stretching away into the distance. There was grass down there, shivering and sighing in the wind. Well, I would have been probably about 15 when I decided that I really wanted to go for it, because I discovered that storytelling was something I was good at and I really loved, and so I just sort of ran with it. But I always did love reading, of course. I never met a writer who didn't love reading. That's how we all start out. We read and read and read until we go nuts with it. And then we usually, well, I can't speak for anyone else, but I, for one, at least start getting a sort of feeling of frustration after a while, because if you read enough, eventually you'll start finding yourself longing to read books that haven't been written yet. And that's when you have to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Those who read fantasy will probably notice that there's quite a few books around that feature dragon riders. I never liked dragon riders, just that the whole idea never really quite worked for me. But at the same time, I thought, I would really like to have a go at it and see how I could handle it in a way that would make me like it. I thought, well, what about griffins? No one really writes about griffins. I could take griffins and do whatever the heck I liked with them. And I could take the whole, sort of humans and big mythological animals living together and put it together in a way that would make sense to me, and then that would make me want to read it. When the sun finally rose, the man woke up from the shallow doze he'd managed to fall into, and jerked upright almost instantly, terror hitting him in the chest. The light of dawn showed him the overhang and the huge, hunched shape of the black griffin sitting not far away. I have to be alone to come up with ideas, so I like to go for long walks on my own. I can't even take my dog with me, or bicycle rides on my own, and that's when the wheels start turning, because when I'm exercising, my mind is completely free. I lock myself away. I do my writing at night, and the reason I do that is because at night, when everyone else is asleep, there's no other demands on my time, I don't have to be anywhere, I have nothing to worry about, so I'm sort of, I'm free again, my mind is free. I love the feeling, how when you're reading a book, you feel that sort of sense of excitement, what's going to happen next. It's often the same for me. He was expecting it to rush at him at any moment, but it didn't. It stayed where it was, perfectly still, except for the twitching of its tail, not taking its eyes off him. I love that thrill that I get when I come up with a new idea and I'm forming it in my head and I'm thinking, yes, and then he'll do this, and he'll say that. Oh yes, I got to fit that line in, that's going to be so good.